first of all, medical marijuana has been amazing. It's been, I've had friends and I've had others and doctors telling me that it's been absolutely amazing.
And as vice president, have been a champion for bringing marijuana down on the schedule. So instead of it being ranked up there with heroin, we bring it down. And my pledge is, as president, I will work on decriminalizing it.
So, is it about to be federally legal, or are home growers' rights and your ability to grow your own medicine at home under attack? So lately there's been lots of talk about federal legalization, especially with clips like these flying around right before the 2024 US presidential election.
My pledge is, as president, I will work on decriminalizing it because I know exactly how those laws have been used to disproportionately impact certain populations, and specifically black men. Public defenders who are around those days will tell you I was the most progressive prosecutor in California on marijuana cases and would not send people to jail for simple possession of weed. And as vice president, have been a champion for bringing marijuana down on the schedule. So instead of it being ranked up there with heroin, we bring it down.
Now, before we get all excited by a 10-second TikTok clip, let's take a step back, because I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I've definitely heard this before. In fact, right before the 2020 US presidential elections, the Biden administration promised the exact same thing.
As president, I'll work to reform the criminal justice system, improve community policing, decriminalize marijuana, and automatically expunge prior marijuana convictions. I'm Joe Biden, and that's my commitment to you, and I approve this message.
Even after Biden called it a gateway drug. And where are we now? Lots of talk about rescheduling Mary Jane from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3.
Today, my administration took a major step to reclassify marijuana from a Schedule 1 drug to a Schedule 3 drug.
For more than 50 years, marijuana has been listed among the world's most dangerous drugs, classified alongside the likes of heroin or ecstasy. But tonight, in a major shift, according to sources with knowledge of the decision, the Biden administration is looking to reclassify the drug to Schedule 3, like ketamine or testosterone or Tylenol with codeine, which would allow marijuana to be more easily studied for medical benefits.
It should not even be on the list, period, when we all know it should be taken off the schedule completely. We all know that alcohol is not on the list. Alcohol is not a controlled substance in the US under the Controlled Substances Act. I mean, come on.
The change would not legalize recreational marijuana, the possession and distribution of which is still a federal crime, but would recognize it as a drug less likely to lead to addiction.
Now, we already spoke in past videos about the risks of descheduling, and the truth be told, rescheduling is likely to bring Big Pharma into the picture, and that's not good for anyone.
What sort of legal threshold do they have to overcome for cannabis to meet before the FDA could approve this sort of medicine?
Well, we have a misunderstanding about the FDA across the board. The FDA is not really most of the time driven by really what I would call pure science. It's driven mostly by corporate influence. That's part of the problem here. This is what we have to worry about. Big Pharma isn't happy about the idea of being able to use being able to use cannabis oil unless it comes through one of their pharmaceuticals. Major drug companies were late to the party on medical marijuana, and the studies show that they're already losing about $4 billion a year as more and more areas allow for medical marijuana and this cannabis oil. So the FDA's decision is rarely really driven by just pure hard science. As you may know, these are the kind of cases I handle all the time. Pharmaceutical cases. It's abysmal the way the FDA makes decisions.
We all know that you're not allowed to make your own prescription drugs at home, and there is a fear that rescheduling may affect home growers negatively.
I agree.
For years, University of Mississippi produced government swag, and then when they had to expand, it was like pulling eye teeth to get them to approve somebody else to grow weed for the official government market. I don't see it being any different if they make it Schedule 3. None of these people that got a license right now going to be making large bets. They're going to be getting a federal license to produce, manufacture, transport, sell marijuana. It'll be at pharmacies, and you're going to have to get a federal license to grow weed. As stupid as that sounds, that's what DEA has already suggested. That's what the FDA, that in oversight bureaucracy, is looking at. If they have a chance to screw something up, they're going to do it.
and it may even affect your ability to cop flower from existing dispensaries and mom and pop shops.
Now, how this may hurt. Being that it's a Schedule 3 drug, right now, only Schedule 3 drugs, according to the federal government, can be purchased with at a pharmacy with a physician's prescription. And actually, because they're controlled substances, we have to go through a verification process. You have to have a DEA number. So there's a lot that goes on that has to happen in order for that to happen. So there's going to be a discrepancy, and that hasn't been figured out at all.
Now, we got to give props to the Biden administration where credit is due. At least they considered the issue, right? I mean, that's got to be worth something. And President Biden also pardoned convictions for cannabis-related offenses, specifically only for simple possession, though.
First, I'm announcing a pardon for all prior federal offenses for the simple possession of marijuana.
So that basically means if you're a home grower and they busted your home grow, you ain't getting no pardon. It's only for simple possession. So if you were stopped by the police in a simple traffic stop and they found a joint, or maybe two, and you arrested, you may be pardoned. But you know when you were definitely not getting a pardon? In California while Kamala Harris was the DA.
She's promised that she's going to make steps toward legalizing marijuana. This, of course, is absolutely hilarious because during her time as Attorney General in California, she locked up over 1,900 people for marijuana offenses, according to the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitations. 1,883 people were admitted to state prison on her watch. So this is fact, ladies and gentlemen. This is cold, hard fact. And here she is, desperate for the black vote, now promising, I'm gonna legalize it.
Now, official California DA office records show that while Kamala was DA, there were 1,956 convictions for misdemeanor and felony marijuana offenses. That's a lot of people, especially for the super liberal state of California where medical cannabis has been legal since 1996. Now, there are people that will say, oh, well, the number of people that were actually sent to state prison was really small, about 45 people. Maybe that number may be a little bit higher if you include those people that were sent to county jail.
Her total amount was 1,956 people. And you might say to yourself, that's not thousands. I know, because even less actually went to jail. The number was 45. So for years, we've been told, hey, she's locking up black men left and right unjustly for weed charges, when in fact, not really.
But the truth is, whether you go to jail or not, that should not be the deciding factor. If you get away from jail time but you get some other form of reprimand such as probation or a misdemeanor offense, you still have it on your record and it's still going to mess your life up, especially when it comes to finding a job or a place to live, getting a loan, or even your credit score. On top of that, there were families affected, kids growing up without a parent if they went to jail, and even if you didn't, the stigma attached to that entire event, the entire ordeal, imagine if you ended up on the news, your friends in your community may turn on you. So there are a lot more things to consider than, oh, only 45 people actually went to jail. Now, the fact that Kamala Harris locked up almost 2,000 people for weed, but now wants to decriminalize weed, is a flip-flop of Diddy-esque proportions.
She put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. You owe them an apology.
And now she's tweeting, oh, no one should go to jail for smoking weed. Well, how times have changed, Kamala Harris.
Now, I know there are a lot of people that will say, oh, she was only doing her job. That was her job as DA. But let's not forget that in 2010, Kamala Harris actually opposed the use of legal weed for adults in California. She firmly said no to recreational herb. We ain't doing the rec thing, homies.
Your opponent, Ron Gold, has said that he is for the legalization of marijuana recreationally. Your thoughts on that?
That he is entitled to his opinion.
And you guys got to understand, it's okay to change your view on a topic over time, especially one like cannabis, where 38 states have now legalized medical cannabis, and America's pretty much spoken out on what they think legal cannabis should be. Should it be legal or illegal?
Public opinion has shifted dramatically in the last 20 years, from 34% of Americans who believe marijuana should be legal to 70%. Nearly half of states have legalized marijuana for recreational use.
So most people agree that it should be legal, except a select few like Wisconsin prohibits possession and consumption of medicinal and recreational purposes. But back to Kamala Harris, because when you prosecute almost 2,000 people for weed, then flip-flop and change your views not just on weed but so many other topics and positions, it begins to undermine your credibility. A lot. And that's when it becomes a problem. So tell me how many flip-flops you can find in this clip.
She has previously supported Medicare for all. Now she does not. She's previously supported a ban on fracking. Now she does not. These, Senator, are ideas that you have campaigned on. Do you think that she is abandoning her progressive ideals?
No, I don't think she's abandoning her ideals. I think she's trying to be pragmatic and doing what she thinks is right in order to win the election.
She supported the Green New Deal, which includes a federal job guarantee.
Not only that, she co-sponsored it.
Exactly. Yep. But now the campaign says that she no longer supports a federal job guarantee. This is the campaign, not her.
Right. When it comes to energy, she endorsed, we all heard her say over and over, she's going to ban fracking, oil and gas fracking. Well, that was in 2019. Look at that. 2024. Now the campaign says she does not support a total ban on fracking.
Right. But this whole thing with federal land and then expanding federal land where you can't drill and frack, that is a subtle way of banning it, shadow banning it. When it comes to health care, she supported Medicare for all. Oh, then she said, did I say that? I didn't mean that. Campaign says she will not push Medicare for all. Why do you even ask? And when it comes to crime, she was going to be tough, a progressive prosecutor looking to end cash bail, having a real big heart for the criminal. Now she's designed a campaign as a pragmatic prosecutor, taking on predators and fraudsters. And I would just say this, there's a downside. Because there's a lot of a party who want the no cash bail, who want to be easy on it. Meanwhile, it was Donald Trump who did the criminal justice
Lawrence,
reform.
This next one, that was
This
the
is
biggest,
crazy.
that was the latest flip-flop.
It's unbelievable. When it comes down to the border wall, in 2019, she called it a medieval vanity project, and she said it was a waste of taxpayer money.
She said it on The View.
Now, apparently in 2024, she vows to allocate millions of dollars to continue building the wall by supporting the border bill her administration negotiated.
Subject of transnational gangs, let's be perfectly clear. The president's medieval vanity project is not going to stop them. And he has held up the United States government and its workers around his vanity project called a wall. This president's medieval vanity project called a wall. For him, he talks about that wall. He wants everyone to be preoccupied with his multi-billion-dollar vanity project. This issue is about a vanity project for this president.
Now, speaking about flip-flopping and pandering like a koala, I noticed lots of out-of-touch, mega-rich celebrities campaigning for Kamala. I also noticed lots of paid articles on Cannabis news pages, and I also seen reports that the Harris campaign is spending tons of money on paying influencers for promotion.
I just peed in the White House. Now, Democratic organizations are flooding the creator community with cash and providing behind-the-scenes access.
Come with me to meet the president of the United States.
Man, somebody been messaging Kai. I don't know who that somebody is. Who could it be?
Then on top of that, I got the fucking Secret Service calling me 5 times.
5 times?
Hey, I'm gonna keep it a stack. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I don't give a fuck. Who gonna have the audacity to text me, we need you a part of the campaign?
Oh my God, bro.
At first I was thinking she was talking about like a video game, like a Modern Warfare game.
Yeah, like a marketing campaign.
Not that, a clothing brand. I'm like, what campaign? Shorty gonna say, we're not gonna get into details. Say it right now.
We just have to be working with them, and if we're not, we're missing a huge way that voters are getting information about the world.
What kind of coaching do you give influencers acting on behalf of the Harris campaign?
Talking points, resources, base language.
While Flaherty says the Harris campaign does not pay influencers directly, CBS News found a constellation of other Democratic political organizations that do.
In the first 100 days of a Republican presidency under Trump, Project 2025 talks about sacking thousands of civil servants.
Last month, Sunay says she was hired by Protect Our Care, a progressive advocacy group that relies on anonymous donors. She made a video warning about Trump's second-term agenda. They almost help you script it, right?
Right, definitely.
She takes their talking points and puts them into her own voice, saying she always discloses when she's being paid. What's your rate?
So a video just for a creator in my size, an average can go from $3,000 to $10,000 depending and upwards.
How can you tell what is a genuine grassroots expression of political opinion versus what's being paid for?
If you see multiple influencers spreading the same exact message, you can start to realize, some kind of coordination is going on.
Next up for Sunday, the Democratic National Convention.
They just told us that if we wanted to put on our own show, that they would give us all the resources to do that.
The Democrats are rolling out the red carpet.
Definitely, and I'm glad to be on it.
The beauty influencer now applying her own filter to this presidential campaign.
Make of that what you will. But what we do know right now is that there are issues affecting so many of us, like the economy, inflation, crime, immigration, and the border crisis. I can go on. But all that to one side, when I see Willie Nelson coming out and organizing a virtual cannabis community for Kamala event this week, with featured speakers like the governor of my state, Jared Polis, and Whoopi Washed Up Goldberg, the host of one of the worst TV shows ever, with the main aim of shoring up support for Kamala ahead of the election by highlighting her marijuana reform record, I'm like, well, firstly, what marijuana reform record? Do you mean the 2,000 people that she prosecuted for weed? And secondly, respectfully, Willie Nelson, you don't speak for the entire cannabis community. So the cannabis community for Kamala thing is not only out of touch, but your view and your support for Kamala Harris clearly does not mean that everyone in the cannabis community also supports Kamala Harris. Keep the community's name
out your fucking mouth!
Now, you want to know what's even crazier than pandering like a panda bear and flip-flopping like a pair of slippers? But after Kamala Harris locked up all those people for weed as DA, she went on to a podcast with Charlamagne the God and said that she smoked weed and actually inhaled. She literally prosecuted and locked up people for weed and then laughed about Kamala Kush.
Have you ever smoked?
I have.
Okay. Like
And I inhale. I did inhale.
Okay.
It was a long time ago.
Harris explains her pro-pot stance and admits that she indulged in the substance while in college.
Now, if Kamala was not the queen of flip-flopping, then we could probably believe that she smoked some of that Kamala Kush back in high school. But that's until Charlamagne the God asked her, what music did you listen to while you got high?
What does Kamala Harris listen to?
What were you listening to when you was high? What was on? What song was it?
Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, definitely Snoop. Tupac for sure.
What do you listen to now? What's your favorite hip hop artist now? What's your favorite artist?
You know who I really love is Cardi B.
So did Kamala Harris really just say that she listened to Snoop Dogg and Tupac when she smoked weed in the 80s? So let me get this straight. She listened to Tupac and Snoop Dogg while she smoked weed in college, before Tupac and Snoop Dogg actually released any albums.
Tupac's debut album, Tupacalypse Now, came out in 1991, and Snoop's first album, Doggy Style, followed a few years later in 1993.
Nah, DJ Envy did come out to defend Kamala, saying that she did not listen to Snoop Dogg and Tupac when she smoked weed. He also said that she did not answer the question about what she listened to when she was high. She was just saying what she listened to in general.
DJ Envy, did Fox News lie on your interview?
Absolutely, positively lied. I mean, we wanted to humanize her, not just talk about politics, talk about what she likes, what she does. And I asked what she listens to. And she said she listens to Snoop Dogg and Tupac. At the same time, my co-host was still talking about the marijuana. And it was just a funny exchange. But she was actually answering me, and people took it that she was answering Charlamagne and said she was lying, which is not true.
I'm not going to lie. I wasn't there that day. So I was like, oh, my God, I can't believe she said that. Because after you see everything on social media,
right.
I wasn't there. So I was like, wow, she totally lied.
Now, the truth is, only Kamala Harris knows what she listened to while she was high, and only Kamala Harris knows what she was smoking on. I just hope she wasn't smoking on no mids. But for most of you homegrowers watching right now, I know you guys definitely do not smoke no mids. We only grow that fire. And growing that fire comes from solid genetics, which you often get time and time again through seed or clone. Now let's shift our focus a little bit to a move that took place under President Trump's administration, and that allowed many people a lot more easily access to genetics, seeds, and cuttings for their home gardens. And that is the Farm Bill of 2018. Now the Farm Bill legalized industrial hemp that has a THC concentration of no more than 0.3% by removing it from the Schedule 1 of the Controlled Substances Act. The key word here is, guys, removing it. Removed, not rescheduled. The 2018 Farm Bill allows hemp cultivation broadly and explicitly allows the transfer of hemp-derived products like extracts, seeds, edibles, and derivatives across state lines for commercial and other purposes. It also allows for the sale, transport, possession of hemp-derived products so long as those items are produced in a manner that's consistent with the law. Now, this was a massive step for us home gardeners and made getting genetics so much easier. Anyone else remember having to order seeds from suspicious places and not knowing if they're going to turn up or not? Or having to use an old CD or DVD case to hide them? Do people even use CDs and DVDs anymore? I don't know. But what I do know is that lots of people hail the Farm Bill of 2018 as the law that allows genetics to thrive and evolve and allows people to share and build their own gardens with amazing quality genetics. Individual states have also taken steps to allow for home grows with certain plant limits. So that was a massive win for home growers. But it didn't stop there, because President Trump, similarly to President Biden, also pardoned persons with cannabis convictions. So not only does this show a shift in the minds of lawmakers on the Democrat side, but also on the Republican side of Congress. Check this out.
If there is one man in Congress who can read the temperature on marijuana opposition and support, it is Representative Earl Blumenauer, a Democrat from Oregon, and the founder and co-chair of the Bipartisan Congressional Cannabis Caucus. He says, quote, "We've been watching. There's been a slow, steady enhancement of Republican support. Among those who have had a recent conversion is Representative David Joyce, a Republican from Ohio, which legalized recreational use in 2023. Joyce's bill would deschedule state legal marijuana. Joyce, who says he started supporting legal cannabis in 2013, says Republican support is there for cannabis when legalization is framed as a states' rights issue. So much so that he believes that in Congress, quote, there are enough votes for cannabis reform.
In fact, President Trump explicitly recently backed Amendment 3 in Florida, which would legalize recreational use for adults, and individuals will be allowed to possess up to 3 ounces. That's even more than here in Colorado, and even more than places like California and Virginia. Now, I don't know about y'all, but when I go to Florida, I'm still scared AF to blaze up. So this will be a welcome change for Florida.
The way they're doing it in Florida, I think, is going to be actually good. It's going to be very good.
As we legalize it throughout the country, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, it's awfully hard to have people all over the jails that are in jail right now for something that's legal.
Now, if you guys are getting value from this video, please do me a favor, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support us further, hit the link in the description below. Join the iCan VIP Bean Club for some fire genetics, or cop some iCan Organics with the code icanthc. So now you guys were able to see for yourselves where the candidates stand on this issue, which is so important to us as consumers and as growers. But I want you guys to pay attention to something really important, and that is decriminalizing versus legalizing. Now, I warned you guys in the beginning of this episode about the 10-second TikTok video clips that you guys are getting.
And my pledges as president, I will work on decriminalizing it.
You gotta understand what's going on. Don't fall for the quick viral videos. Decriminalization means it would remain illegal, but the legal system would not prosecute a person for the act. Decriminalization does not make it legal. It's still illegal at the federal level. So is this not more of the same? Just waving the carrot, or well, the proverbial joint in front of our faces? Pretty much until we do what we're told, i.e. give me your vote, you silly stoners. Because the truth is, the penalties with decriminalization will still range from no penalties at all to a civil fine. And this can be contrasted with complete legalization, which is the process of removing all legal prohibitions against the plant. Like, think of it this way. Do you face a penalty or get a fine for drinking a beer? Or taking a shot of vodka or tequila? No, because alcohol is legalized in the United States. Just like so many other places around the world. But we all know what happens when you drink too much alcohol versus when you smoke too much weed. One person may get into a DUI accident, the other one may eat everything in his fridge and wake up the next morning feeling hungry still. So these are the nuances that you guys really need to pay attention to. Legalize, not decriminalize. Deschedule, not reschedule. We want home grows, not to be forced to buy crappy dispo weed that's taxed at insane amounts and designed to make us go broke, giving all our money to the local and federal government just for trying to buy some weed. Because if that's the case, guys, then honestly, just leave everything as it is. Don't reschedule. Definitely don't take away home grows and force us to go to Big Pharma for our buds. Because I can already see that once Big Pharma comes in, they're going to sell us a bunch of marked up regs, McDonald's weed, shutting down smaller quality craft stores, and they'll just work with big companies like Curaleaf, which is already owned by a Russian billionaire. I bet you didn't know that one, right? Now let me know what you guys think about this. Do you guys believe Kamala Harris when she says she's just going to decriminalize weed at the federal level? Do you think it's just a repeat of what Biden and Kamala Harris herself did 4 years ago for the 2020 election, trying to get votes out of us weed smokers? And do you believe that President Trump is in favor of medical and recreational weed? I mean, after all, he did remove hemp from the Controlled Substances Act through the Farm Bill of 2018, and many home growers have benefited from this, just like you and me. So let me know what you think down in the comments below, and to find out more about some of the risks when it comes to rescheduling, then definitely check out this video on screen right now, and we'll see you over there.